Okay, the court is in session with the court's arraignment docket scheduled for 9 a.m. on today's date of May 10th, 2022, in County Court at Law Number 2, Jefferson County, Texas. Judge Terrence Holmes presiding. For our arraignment docket, we have Mr. Luis Thomas and Mindy Yanez. Mr. Thomas, it's my understanding, speaks Spanish. And so we have our Spanish interpreter, Ms. Jennifer Araji, who's going to interpret. Now, Ms. Araji, would you please raise your right hand? Get over a little bit. Okay, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth? Well, let me back this. Do you swear to interpret English to Spanish and Spanish to English? So help you God? Yes, sir. Okay, you may put your hand down. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we call an arraignment. You can and with the arraignment, you have rights as a defendant in a criminal case. Now, first of all, you have a right to have a trial by jury. And what a trial by jury is, in this court, you'll have a right to have 6 people to decide whether or not you're guilty or innocent of the charges. You also have a right to waive, which means you have to waive your right to a jury trial, which means you have a right to give up your right to a jury trial. Now, by waiving your right to a jury trial, you would not, your case, you would not be having a jury trial. However, your case will come before the judge or the court. Your case can come before the judge, so the judge could have a trial without a jury, and the judge will decide whether or not you're guilty or innocent. If the judge finds you guilty, then the judge would also assess your punishment. Now, Mr. Tomas, you have a Class A misdemeanor. The range of punishment for a Class A misdemeanor is confinement in jail for a term not to exceed 1 year, a fine not to exceed $4,000, or both such fine and confinement. Yes. And Ms. Yanez, you have a Class B misdemeanor. The range of punishment for a Class B misdemeanor is confinement in jail for a term not to exceed 180 days, a fine not to exceed $2,000, or both such fine and confinement. Okay. Also, as a defendant, I said in a criminal case, as I stated, if you waive your right to have a trial by jury, your case will come before the judge, and the judge will have what is called a bench trial. That means that the judge will be the judge who will decide whether or not you're guilty or innocent. And if you're found guilty, the judge will assess the punishment. Now, your case can come before the judge also by way of a plea bargain. And what a plea bargain is, that's an agreement between you and the district attorney's office to settle your case. If you have also, if you're unable to reach an agreement to settle your case, then your case can come before the judge by way of an unagreed plea bargain. And the judge will decide what the punishment will be in your case. Now, you also have a right to have witnesses to come to court to testify for you or against you. Now, you also have a right to waive, which means waive your right to have witnesses, which means you have a right to give up your right to have witnesses. And by doing so, you will not be calling witnesses, but the state will be calling witnesses. You also have a right against self-incrimination, which means you have a right not to testify in your case. And the state cannot force you to testify against yourself. You have a right to waive or give up the right, your Fifth Amendment right. And by doing so, if you waive or give up your Fifth Amendment right, then you will be testifying in your case. Okay. First, I explained to you, you have a right not to testify. Right. You also have a right to waive or give up that right not to testify. And by waiving the right, you will be testifying in your case. You also have a right to have discovery. That means you have a right to see the evidence that the state has against you in your case. You have a right to see the witness statements, the reports, the documents, the videos, DVDs, whatever evidence that they, objects, whatever evidence that they have in your case, you have a right to have access to it. You also have a right to waive or give up the right to discovery, which means you have a right not to have access if you so desire. Now, as a citizen, well, if you are not a U.S. citizen, a plea of guilty or nolo contendere may result in your deportation, exclusion from admission to the country, or denial of naturalization under federal law. Ms. Yanez, are you a U.S. citizen? Yes. And Mr. Luis Tomas, are you a U.S. citizen? Okay. Now, Mr. Tomas, there's a form, and Mr. Tomas, what country are you from? Guatemala? Okay. Okay, it's not a mandatory notification country. Now, Mr. Tomas, there's a form before you that's in Spanish. And I will go over this form. I have it in English. And it says, as a citizen, as a non-US citizen who is being arrested or detained, you may request that we notify your country's consular's office here in the United States of your situation. You may also communicate with your consular officers. A consular officer may be able to help you obtain legal representation and may contact your family and visit you in detention, among other things. If you want us to notify your consular officers, you can request this notification now or at any time in the future. Okay, ask Mr. Thomas, does he understand?
Yes.
Okay, ask him, do you want us to notify your consular officers at this time? No, okay. He has to sign the document and circle his decision. Today's date is the 10th, May 10th. He just need to sign the top portion.
Right.
Okay. Okay. And okay. Now, also, as a defendant in a criminal case, you have a right to have an attorney. That paper that you have before you that's titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without an Attorney, I will go over this document with you. As a defendant in a criminal case, you have three options. Number one, you may hire an attorney. Number two, if you do not have enough money to hire an attorney, you may request an attorney be appointed to represent you. Number three, you may represent yourself. If you want an attorney to represent you and have enough money to hire an attorney, the case will be reset to give you time to do so. If you want an attorney and do not have the money to hire one, you would need to fill out a financial questionnaire so that the proper person could determine whether or not to appoint an attorney to represent you. You may not speak to the prosecutor about your case unless you sign a written waiver of your right to be represented by an attorney. Be aware there are dangers to self-representation. Waiving your right to an attorney and representing yourself may result in a worse outcome for you and your case. Including the loss of significant legal rights and opportunities relating to military service, possession of a firearm, housing and public benefits, child custody, immigration status for non-citizens, and employment. If you choose to proceed without an attorney, you may change your mind at any time and may request counsel from the court. At the bottom of this document, it states defendant's choice. Mark initials to only one choice. If your choice is, I want to reset this case to hire my own attorney, then you will put your initials on the first line to the left. If you've already hired an attorney, then you'll put your initials on the second line to the left and the name of the attorney on the line to the right. If your choice is, I want to apply for court-appointed counsel, then you'll put your initials on the third line to the left. If you have already been appointed a court-appointed attorney, then you'll put your initials on the fourth line to the left and the name of the attorney on the line to the right. Or if you want to waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself, then you'll put your initials on the fifth line to the left. At the bottom of this document, it states defendant. You'll put your signature on that line and you'll date it today's date, May 10th, 2022. Okay. Jefferson County has a program that's called Pretrial Diversion. It's for people who've never been in trouble before. If you get into the program, they will dismiss your case and you can get it wiped off of your record. We call that an expungement. In order to get into the program, it cannot be a case for evading arrest or unlawfully carrying a weapon or resisting arrest. And you would have to get a an attorney to help you to get into the program. If you are a veteran of any one of the branches of the United States military, there's a program called Veterans Court. And it's also part of the Pretrial Diversion program, which means that you could get into the program, they dismiss your case, you complete the program, then you could get it wiped off your record. Okay, this court has a program called the Csi Program, stands for Community Safety Initiative. And basically, it's a program that we have partnerships with agencies in the community. One of the agencies that we have a partnership with is called Spindletop Center. And they can treat individuals who have mental illnesses. So if a person is suffering from either depression, anxiety, it could be bipolar, schizophrenia, ADHD, post-traumatic stress, or any mental health illness, they can treat you for that. And we have a mental health deputy and a mental health counselor who's in the back. The mental health counselor can interview you privately. They can do an assessment and develop a treatment plan, either outpatient or inpatient. We also have a partnership with Spindletop. They have a drug treatment program, and that program is called ATAR, which stands for Addiction Treatment and Recovery. We also have a partnership with the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Council. They have a program called OZAR, which stands for Outreach, Screening, Assessment, and Referral, OZAR. And they can do a private screening, they can do an assessment, and they can refer you for either outpatient or inpatient treatment. If you're unemployed, or if you're looking for a better job, we have a partnership with the Golden Triangle Empowerment Center. Who has a partnership with Lamar University. Lamar University has a program called CICE, and it stands for Center for Innovation, Commercialization and Entrepreneurship. CICE, Center for Innovation, Commercialization, and Entrepreneurship. It is a job training and a job placement program in the hotel industry, the shipping industry, and the chemical industry. They will help you, they will give you training in any area that you are, any one of those 3 areas that you're interested in, and they will assist you at getting a job in the field that you're trained in. They also have a program for GED. If you do not have a high school diploma, you can get into their program and they can help you to get your GED. All these programs are free. It does not cost you anything. Only thing you have to do is have a desire to be in any one of the programs. Oh, this court, and so with our CSI program, as I said, all of the programs are free, and they can be used as community service toward your punishment. Now, you have the option, in your case, you could enter a plea of not guilty, which means that you're telling the court that you did not commit the offense that you've been charged with, or you can enter a plea of guilty, which means you're telling the court that you committed the offense that you've been charged with, or you can enter a plea of no contest or nolo contendere, which means that you would not be fighting the charges. Anytime that you have, if you were arrested on your case, anytime that you spent in jail, that jail time can be used as credit toward your sentence. So for example, if you spent 5 days in jail and the state is offering 5 days jail as a punishment, you'll be given credit for time served, which means you will not have to serve any more time in jail on this case. If they are offering 7 days in jail and you spent 5 days in jail, that means that you would have to do 2 days in jail. If the state is offering you a fine and court cost, let's say every day that you spent in jail, you get credit at $100 per day that will go toward your fine and court costs. If you have, for example, if the state is offering you fine and court costs of $500 and you spent 5 days in jail, you would not have to pay anything because the time you spent in jail has already paid it off. If they are offering you a fine and court costs, for example, of $700 and you spent 5 days in jail, that means you would have to pay $200. If you cannot pay the fine and court costs on the day of the plea, then you can pay it off in installments. We could put you on a payment plan to pay it off. If you cannot pay it off at all because you do not have the income, then the court can convert your fine and court costs to community service. And for example, any one of the 5 programs that I spoke of in our community safety initiative, that is the mental health program, the drug treatment program, the GED classes, the job training and the job placement program, all of those could be used as community service. So while you doing one thing, you're getting credit for 3 things. While you're in class for, let's say, job training or GED or mental health counseling or drug counseling, that's one thing. You'll be getting you'll be getting community service for 1 hour, and $12.50, the third thing, will be going towards your fine and court costs. Okay. Now, for those of you who will be requesting an attorney be a court-appointed, or that will be requesting a court-appointed attorney, you would have to fill out a financial form. It's called our financial affidavit. If you need assistance, we will be happy to provide assistance. So at this time, the court will be in recess to give time to individuals who needs to fill out the affidavit. Now, if you are hiring your attorney, then your case will be reset to give you time to hire your attorney. If you want to waive your right to represent yourself, then you would have to sign a waiver on the next page. Now, Ms. Yanis, what is your choice? Hire, good. All right. Now, Mr. Tomas, what is your choice?
You gonna hire also?
Okay, good. All right. So at this time, we have to get our court coordinator in to reset your cases.